guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Taylor and today is going to be a crochet chat. I did not script anything for this. I'm just kind of gonna see where my mouth takes me and see where it sort of goes, because I want to talk about something that everyone else is talking about. Book talk! Oh my god, I am so sick of people who are not like readers talking about book talk. I'm not gonna lie, like I know we all saw like the Call Me Chris controversy. I did recently see a video by Jack Edwards. He's a big reader. I liked his video a lot on romance novels. And I think mostly I want to talk about like women and romance novels, smut. I just wish that people would stop thinking that they have like some sort of moral high ground because they don't read romance books. As if it's like so quirky and not like other girls. That's what it's giving when people are like, I don't read romance like those other girls. Like it's giving I'm not like other girls. Think of me as an intellectual, because people who read romance novels are not intellectuals. It's so infuriating to me because a lot of books have romance elements in them. I say this about like most books too. Most books have a mystery element to them too. They may not be just mystery, like not every book is a romance book, but most books, a lot of books, have either an element of like romance of some sort and a mystery of some sort. Like you have to be curious to want to keep reading, right? You aren't presented with all of the knowledge right away, right? Like I'm just so sick of people being like, I don't read romance books. Do you want a gold fucking star, bro? Like tell me, what's so bad about romance books? What's so bad about chick flicks? Oh, it's that other women like them, right? And you want the thin layer of protection that patriarchy gives you from the validation that you aren't like other girls and you don't read books like that, right? Yeah. It just comes off so bitchy. I was out somewhere recently where it was like blind date with a book, and this person had like romance, romantasy. They also had general fiction, but this lady comes up to the vendor and goes, well, I don't read romance books. And the vendor is like, oh, well, I also have like, here's a mystery, here's a thriller, you know, blind date with a book. But she wanted to make a big deal about the fact that like she was not the target audience. Not everything is for or about you. I guess that's more about like the what about me-isms. But also like men who get so angry. So I know that I have a boyfriend now, but when I was dating and I would tell guys like, oh, I read a lot. They're like, oh my God, you must read all that sex stuff. I'm like, I mean, sometimes if the book is intriguing to me, and they're like, ew, that's so gross. I'm like, okay, well, do you watch videos and stuff like that? And they're like, well, yeah, of course, every guy does. Okay, then shut up. It's not the same, but you know, it serves a similar purpose. But also, God forbid, women want to read a book where a man is nice to the woman, which is also why I can't handle when books are like, the woman teaches a grown man, basic empathy. Like, I don't like books like that. Honestly, I don't like romance books like that. I mean, there's still people who will read them, who like them and stuff, but I like when the man is a full person and doesn't need a woman to teach him empathy. But that's just, you know, an opinion within the genre of romance that I do like. You cannot compare romance books to explicit videos. You just can't. It's not the same in any way, shape, or form. And it really just kind of like disgusts me in a way when people try to do that. I mean, I do think that there's the conversation of like when people look at YA books and they're like, it's not smutty enough. Like, yo, you need to like internally look at that. You could do a little bit of deeper digging into what the book is about, or, you know, I am of the firm belief that YA books shouldn't be smutty. I understand if there's like sex that is for a purpose. Like, I'm sure a lot of us read Forever by Judy Blume. There is sex in that book but that was like one of the first books where I learned about sex. It wasn't like sensationalized or overplayed or over dramatic. So, you know, there's time and place, and there's, you know, reasons. There's also like sex scenes in the Boys of Tommen series, which I've said I love a lot. Chloe Walsh does make it very clear though that her books are for like readers 16 plus. And I would say that, you know, it's pretty on par. I will say Saving and Redeeming 6, little smutty. Those books are a little smutty. But she also says that those particular ones are for people 18 plus, which, I mean, kind of encroaches into the new adult category. But when the subject of sex comes up, I do think, at least in the first two, Binding and Keeping 13, I really think that it's handled with care and with love, and, you know, it's showcasing something that these two characters are doing because they love each other, which, I mean, is what that is. I mean, I know people do it for other reasons, but I do think if we're gonna, you know, showcase it, you know, in a, you know, younger sort of novel, I thought it was fine. What came under fire? That was Check-in Mate by Ali Hazelwood. That book is like very much for 17 to 20-year-olds. But I read it last year and I really liked it. I thought it was cool that we had a bisexual main character who talked more, you know, flippantly about their sexuality. I thought that that was kind of nice. It was honestly very refreshing. We don't need to be shameful of things. I think we as a society don't know how to talk about it, or, you know, what is appropriate, especially in those murky waters of, I would say, like 16 to 18, you know, because people maturity-wise are just so in such different places, you know. And I do think it's on a kid-by-kid basis, but I know that teachers talk about like how their kids are reading Icebreaker. And so I did watch, I mentioned earlier, Jack Edwards's his video on romance books, and he talked about how like, oh well, parents can't read every single book that their child reads, so like, you know, things are going to slip through the cracks. Things are going to slip through the cracks, but I really do think that parents have a responsibility to look up what is in the books that their children are reading. They don't have to read everything that their child reads, but the internet does exist, and I think that they are at liberty to use it. I just wish that there was like a good way to be like, hey, there's mature content in here. And there are some books that have started putting that on there, like this book contains mature themes, which I do think is fine. I mean, that's not even like a trigger warning. That's just saying like, hey, there's something in here that may not be suitable for kids. That's like the most vague thing you can say. Yeah, I'm really sick of the hate that romance books get. And I think it's hard for me because I also don't really like dark romance. And that's just, you know, a personal opinion. But I do like the Never After series by Emily McIntyre. I have read all of the books except for the Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling one. I just couldn't get into it. I know that there are certain like tropes in dark fiction or dark romance novels that like I just can't get into. It's just not for me. I mean, I do question like why people like those things, but I'm really coming from, I'm not trying to come from a place of judgment. It's very much for me a place of like honestly innocent questioning, because like I just don't understand it fully, I guess. But, you know, that's just me. I mean, read what you want. I'm not trying to say that like these books shouldn't exist or be taken away, or that if you like it then you're like messed up in the head. I just don't understand it. And you know what? You know what I've learned in this life? I'm not meant to understand everything. My brain can only hold so much. If dark romance can't compute in my brain, and it never does, that's okay. The big thing for me when it comes to dark romance though, because like I can deal with a lot, it's the non-con stuff, or like dub-con, and if you're not well versed in Talk, BookTube, whatever, the dark romance sphere, non-con stands for non-consensual and dub-con stands for like dubious consent. I just have a very hard time when we have main male characters who sexually assault our main female character and then they like fall in love. I really can't wrap my mind around it. But that's for me to, you know, deal with. That's not for me to project onto anyone else. I'm just, you know, explaining myself. You know what does bother me though, and I know that most of book talk and booktube is like woman led, so I'm not trying to like dog on other women, but I do kind of hate when people are like, oh well, I just like skim read and I don't understand a word of what I'm reading, and you know, all this stuff. I'm like, even if you're reading for pleasure, don't you want to understand what you're reading? Like, I totally understand like the escapism, all this stuff. As I've said before, nothing, like, books don't exist in a vacuum, everything has an agenda, blah 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 blah. But if you're reading for escapism, don't you want to at least like understand what you're intaking? Like, how do you skim read and not remember anything? How can you put things together? How do you passively read a book? Like, I think that reading, you know, it's a muscle, and it can become like more passive, you know, the more you do it, just because it's easier for you and, you know, all that stuff. But if I ask you about a book and you can't tell me anything about it, I mean, I question your comprehension of the book. I can understand if you read it years ago and you don't remember. Like, I totally understand that. There are books that I read many years ago, I don't remember everything. There are certain things I remember. To remember nothing about a book you just read, I do wonder about that. I also really hate when people are like, you can't read a book on 3 times speed. Some people can. I mean, I have gotten my Libby up to like 2.65 sometimes. Sometimes some narrators for audiobooks, they just speak slow. You know, sometimes like I don't have like a set, I listen to books at this speed. Most fiction books I do start at like 1.5 and I go up from there. But for example, I'm reading A People's History of the United States right now. And I can only listen to this on 1.25 speed. I was able to get up to 1.5 for a little bit, but I can only listen to this on 1.25. Or else it is like too fast for my little brain. And then I'm also reading The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, and I can only listen to this on 1.5 because any faster my brain cannot comprehend it. And these are both non-fiction books, but most fiction books I can do 2.0 just fine. And I have been getting to the point where like I can get to like 2.2 times speed. And I understand that, you know, some people are like, well, you can listen faster than you can read. I mean, some people can read faster than they can listen. I mean, I am not a very fast reader, I would say, just like naturally. I don't think I read very fast at all. The only reason I can read a little bit faster is because I listen to audiobooks. Audiobooks are a form of reading. I really won't take anything else. If you intake the content, that's reading. Because essentially what you're saying is like people who are like blind or have dyslexia, or, you know, the people who have ailments that they can't sit down and read a book, whether it be, you know, physically or on Kindle. Like, what you're saying is that they are unable to read or be readers, and I don't like the exclusivity of that. I really don't. Yeah, I think we need to like lay off book talk a little bit. I mean, people just, at this point it feels like do it for clout, and they're not readers who are, you know, saying these things. And it's really hard when non-readers are the ones making fun of readers, because it's like, what do you feel like you're accomplishing with doing that? I mean, I do agree, you know, some people do some weird stuff, like that hockey scandal where this one man was like fan casted and then women were going to the hockey game and like harassing him. Like, don't do that. Leave that for, you know, well, don't harass anybody, but like leave your fantasies in, you know, your TikTok fan edits, or you know, in your own home. Don't bring that out into the real world. It's kind of like when kink is like out and about, you know, everyone likes to make fun of like, oh my god, he's got his girlfriend on a leash. People did not consent to be like your little fantasy. And one thing, and this is a whole other video, right? I feel like sometimes women don't quite understand that they can also be perpetrators of harassment. Like, men can also be harassed and feel uncomfortable by women's advances. But like I said, that's a whole other conversation. I know that on the whole, most harassment is aimed at women. So I'm not trying to say, and I believe people, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying sometimes I think women are blind to the fact that they can also be perpetrators of harassment at times. I think that is all. That was like a long rant. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I know that that was very all over the place, but let me know what you think in the comments about anything that I said today. I tried to kind of keep it centered around book talk and romance books and stuff, but I know we kind of got on some little tangents. Essentially, romance books have always been around. I think they're always going to be around. They're actually the biggest sector of the book publishing industry. That is where they get most of their money. And I think that women need to stop being persecuted for wanting to read a silly little love story where a man and woman fall in love under consensual circumstances and the man treats her nice. Thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to give this video a like and please subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you as a part of our little growing community. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.